Ruben Vardanian is chairman of the board of directors and CEO of Troika Dialog Group. Also, perhaps more famously known as one of the most richest men in Russia today. He has been ranked as Russia's top 3 business leaders, and in 2004, he won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award in Russia and was named Investment Banker of the Year by Nofor. In 2006, Ruben Vardanian was awarded for special merits in Russian business by Aristos, the joint award by National Managers Association and a publishing house in Russia. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Very nice to meet you.
Tell us about Troika Dialog.
The Troika Dialog, one of the first investment bank, which was established in January 1991. We will celebrate January our 20 years anniversary with $35,000 startup capital, which we got from American business person Peter Derby, and he hired me. I was a student at the time, 21 years old, and 22 years old. Yeah, it was the time when I just was in the Moscow University trying to learn about economics and new situation in Russia. We started with 4 people, $35,000 20 years ago. Today it's 1,200 people. It's $1 billion, around $1 billion capital of the company. We operate in 24 cities and 5 countries like Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Russia, New York, London, and Nicosia and Cyprus.
Well, what was it about you as a student that someone from America will pick you up and throw $25,000 to build a business?
I used to ask him, but how he explained it was why I was one of the best students in the university at the time, and also I was one of the few people at the time was interested about securities market. There was not so many people who at the time in Russia was interested about securities market, and I had a very serious interest with this because I had a strong belief.
But Russia itself did not have a strong security.
No, we didn't have anything. No regulations, no clients, no securities, nothing, no infrastructure.
So with pure enthusiasm and an instinct, perhaps, you entered this business, and 20 years later, you've come out tops as the most established investment banking house in Russia. How much of that had to do with who you knew and in order to build deal after deal?
You know, I'm Armenian by origin. I was born in Armenia. I'm not Russian, and I was 22 years old. I didn't have so many connections. That's why whatever I built during these 20 years by doing my professional services. And I think one of the key elements of why we've been successful because we were from the beginning we said 3 goals. It's a very long-term oriented by international standards. We are client services company, and we are respecting ourselves, respect our colleagues, and want to respect our country. And I think those 3 principles help us a lot because people see during this whole period of time how we work, what we deliver. And of course now I know many people in Russia because it's my profession. I need to know everybody. But it was built during every day, and this is not easy.
So you were Armenian and you were not local to Moscow.
No.
Now, having said that, you've seen several governments come and go in Moscow. So what was the thread that has held your business together despite the government changes?
You know, we've been lucky, maybe in the 90s when it was a very tough time in Russia. Our main clients at the time was foreign clients. We helped foreigners to invest to Russia, and 80% of our revenue came from foreign investors. This is why we've been working mainly with foreigners who understood very well how the securities market operated. And for Russian government, our industry was not so important and was not very heavily regulated.
They weren't privatizing very much at that point in time.
No, they privatized, but they didn't understand that after privatization, you immediately will get this all securities market tradings and all the type of things. They established Securities Commission in 1996, and they did some other regulatory approaches, and they put some stock exchanges and other. But in any way, it was banking system was more crucial for them. The inflation, the social responsibility. Whereas we work for the foreigners, and by foreign standards we operate, which help us a lot. And I'll say we didn't feel big pressure from government in
Right.
time.
So if I were to break the phases of growth that you've been through, you basically started as a brokerage, and then moved into, today you're one of the largest domestic bond houses, and then into deals. Would that be
No, I will say no, because we've been, from the beginning, we tried to operate in all the 3 areas. We started the first direct investment project with the Cargill in 1994. and the Tetra Pak, and we helped the Russian company privatize. We've been asset management. We had our first open-end fund in 1996 in America, and we've been biggest in equity brokerage house. Which I will say, Troika is very balanced investment banking house. When we have a asset management very strong with mutual funds, pension funds under management, we're number one in this area. We're number one in equity brokerage business with a lot of trading volume and sales force. We've been very strong in domestic bond market and definitely dominating in many other areas. And with Troika, we always try to be full-service investment bank in Russia, competing with the big global banks.
Right, and also competing with the more connected domestic players.
Yeah, but when you're connected to one group, the other groups don't like that. That's why the Troika being independent, owned by the employees and operated by international standards, for many clients, they prefer work with us because they feel less threat from us. We do not belong one of the group. We are operating with everybody in equal basis by professional service.
The background to the name Troika Dialog.
The Troika is a very famous Russian word that everybody knows from international part. The Troika has been free, and the dialogue is also very international. But we always said between people who has the money and people who wants to get money, you need to find the third person who will help you create a dialogue. Because we try to build the bridge between the West, East, and Russia. We try to help the other people understand how Russia operates. We're doing this forum here in Singapore. We're doing forum in Moscow. We're actively in Davos, many other places. We try to build this bridge and culture awareness about how Russia operates, how you can make money in Russia, what kind of risk you need to be considering when you're investing in Russia.
In your latest foray, you seem to be targeting wealth management and asset management as a focus area. And you seem to be very positive about the Russian economy, despite the fact that the currency is somewhat attacked in a way and weak. What are the inherent strengths of the Russian economy that you expect to be riding?
You need to understand the situation in Russia. 143 million people live in Russia, from which around 20 million people is the upper middle class people. And only 1 million people in Russia today investing their money in the securities market, which means we have a huge potential of growth of the people which will invest their money to the securities market. The second, you need to realize the tax rate is very favorable in Russia. It's only 13% flat tax. People less worry about confidentiality or how we don't want to send money to Switzerland. They want to keep money in Russia, and they want to fully pay tax and they operate in Russia. This is why they want to have a very banker here in Russia, not in Switzerland or in other places. This is why the private banking growing industry inside of Russia will be unavoidable. And the third point is also very important. It's Russia is continuing very underdeveloped. You can see the potential of the many companies will go public. We see many new instruments will come in the market. And growing with them, you can definitely achieve a lot. And we've been very strong in private banking already many years. We've been in a crisis with our clients already twice, 1998 and 2008. And the last point I want to mention about the weakness of Russian currency, it's become much better compared to what it was before. People continue to gradually see the improvements of the macroeconomic situation. We have a $400 billion reserve. We have inflation going down to 6-7%. We got GDP growing 5%. We're getting much more stable life, political stability, macroeconomic stability. That's why people more and more investing in the instruments which we want to get decent return without high risk.
Is Troika Dialog Ruben Vardanian, and is Ruben Vardanian Troika Dialog?
No, not at all. It's a partnership. I'm very proud to say we have 123 partners who own 64% of the shares of the company. And the other partner is a Standard Bank, who bought 36% shares from us in 2009. It's a collegial decision-making process. We have a lot of strong partners who are running different businesses, and they build businesses from scratch with me together. Yes, Ruben Vardanian is the most known person, and I'm definitely in some way the key gatekeeper with all the principles and key values and key rules of the system. But no, I have partners who are very strong.